The restaurant went silent the moment he walked in. Every waiter turned to stare. It wasn't every day a billionaire showed up unannounced. He wore a custom suit, a cold expression, and an attitude that made people shrink. But no one expected what would happen next, especially the young waitress who dared to refuse him service. She thought he was just another arrogant rich man. But when she opened his wallet and saw the photo inside, everything changed. Hey everyone, welcome back to Kindness Action, the channel where real stories remind us that kindness can change everything. If you believe compassion still matters in this world, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's dive into today's story. It was a chilly November evening in Chicago. The city lights reflected off the restaurant's tall windows, and the air smelled faintly of roasted garlic and fresh bread. Inside La Fontaine, one of the city's finest dining spots, 26-year-old waitress Emily was just finishing her shift. She was tired, her feet ached, and her mind was on her mother's medical bills waiting at home. That's when the door swung open, and in walked a man everyone instantly recognized, Victor Harlan, the billionaire investor known for his luxury empire, and his terrible temper. The restaurant manager rushed over, almost tripping in excitement. "Mr. Harlan, welcome. What an honor to have you here tonight." But Victor didn't even look up. He just muttered, "Table for one. Somewhere quiet." His voice was sharp, impatient, and cold. Emily sighed as her manager signaled for her to take his table. She wasn't thrilled. Rumor had it, Harlan once made a waiter cry because his wine wasn't chilled enough. Still, she put on a polite smile and walked over. "Good evening, sir. Can I start you off with something to drink?" she asked gently. He didn't respond. Instead, he waved his hand dismissively and said, "Just water. And make sure it's bottled. Not that tap garbage." Emily blinked, taken aback by his tone. But she nodded and brought him the water. When she returned, he was on his phone, barking orders at someone. "No excuses. If the deal isn't done by tomorrow, you're all fired," he snapped, slamming the phone down on the table. A couple sitting nearby whispered uncomfortably. Emily set the glass down and tried again. "Would you like to hear our specials tonight?" He glared at her. "Do I look like I have time for that? Just bring me a steak. Medium rare. And don't overcook it like the last time I ate here." Her jaw tightened. "Yes, sir," she said, and walked off. In the kitchen, Emily's co-workers could see the frustration on her face. "Hey, Em," one of them said, "just ignore him. Some people are miserable no matter how rich they are." Emily nodded. But something inside her burned. She'd dealt with rude customers before, but this was different. The way he treated everyone, like they didn't matter, made her angry. When she returned with the food, he barely looked up. He took one bite, frowned, and said, "This is overcooked. Take it back." Emily knew it was cooked perfectly. But she took the plate anyway, biting her tongue. Moments later, as she was about to bring a new dish, he raised his voice again, loud enough for everyone to hear. "How hard is it to get a decent meal in this overpriced place? You people are useless." That was it. Emily's patience snapped. She placed the new plate on his table and said firmly, "Sir, I understand you're upset, but there's no reason to speak to us like that. We're doing our best." The restaurant went dead silent. The manager froze in horror. Victor's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me? Do you know who I am?" Emily stood her ground. "Yes, sir. And I know that everyone deserves respect, even the people serving you dinner." He scoffed, pulled out his wallet, and threw a $100 bill on the table. "Here. Maybe this will remind you who's in charge." Her cheeks flushed with anger. "No, thank you," she said, pushing it back toward him. "I don't want your money." She turned to walk away. But as she did, she heard something fall from his wallet, a small, worn photograph. She bent down to pick it up, and froze. It was a picture of a young woman holding a baby. The woman looked happy, radiant even, but Emily noticed the hospital wristband on her arm. On the back of the photo, in faded ink, were the words, "Forever in my heart, Lily and Sam." Emily slowly turned to Victor. He was staring at the table, his tough expression suddenly gone. His eyes glistened. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I shouldn't have spoken to you like that." Emily hesitated. "It's okay," she said softly, handing him the photo. "They're your family?" He nodded, his hands trembling as he took it back. "My wife and son. I lost them 3 years ago. A car accident. I've never really," he paused, unable to finish. "I don't know how to be kind anymore." The anger in Emily's chest melted into empathy. She pulled out the chair across from him and said quietly, "You don't have to know how. You just have to start." They sat in silence for a while. The man who once seemed larger than life now looked human, broken, but real. Emily listened as he talked about Lily's laughter, about how his son used to draw rockets on the living room walls. For the first time in years, Victor let his guard down. When he finally stood to leave, he looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said, "for reminding me what really matters." He left a simple note on the table before he walked away. It read, "You gave me back my heart tonight." That night, Emily realized something powerful. Kindness doesn't always mean staying quiet. Sometimes, it means standing up, seeing past someone's anger, and reaching the person who's hurting underneath. And as for Victor? He became a regular at the restaurant, not as a billionaire, but as a man learning to live again. Every time he visited, he asked for Emily's section, and he always left a smile, not a tip, as the best form of gratitude. Because in the end, kindness isn't about wealth, or power, or perfection. It's about seeing someone's pain and choosing to respond with love. So, remember, you never know what someone's carrying inside. Be kind anyway. Thanks for watching Kindness Action. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a reminder that kindness still changes.